It's Ricker, it's Bond, it's Ricker after dark. Sleeves are off, sunglasses are on, headband is below the ear muffs. And we're talking about everything from the revenue of Anthropic, the revenue of Nvidia, SpaceX going IPO. It's IPO season. Summer boys know it's IPO summer boys. Google I/O launching new sick models. We're talking Gemini 3.5 Flash. It's better than 3.1 Pro encoding and agentic benchmarks. GitHub was freaking hacked by the PCP boys themselves. Trump was ordered by the tech CEOs to be like, hey, don't do that AI executive order. And that's just about it. AMD Gorgon. It's Ricker and Bond. Ricker after dark. Tarps off for the boys. Yes, yes. Ricker after dark, no ball. Yeah. Ricker and ball. Long Nasdaq. And it's all for your wrongs. Yes, yes, y'all. When there's no Bond, it's Ricker after dark. Shirt sleeveless, glasses on, headband on. It's time to freaking talk about business and tech. Glasses, sunglasses, dude. We got probably the best news that's a little bit too late for you to ingest, but we're going to give you a more complex look at it, exactly how it was written by the internet. Some fun freaking stuff. We got SpaceX, we got Nvidia, we got a freaking Pope talking about AI, we got Google I/O 2026, GitHub was breached. Trump postpones an AI executive order. That's an executive order that is the only one that's been postponed, you know what I mean? And some fun stuff. Runner-ups include AMD Gorgon. Halo enables 300 billion plus parameter AI. And again, some lovely AI stuff coming straight from the papal. That's a Catholic thing for those who are freaking idiots. Like, I'm just kidding. It's kind of a fun, playful thing that I like to do. Bad cop, good cop. Starting off, we're going to start off with Elon Musk's SpaceX. SpaceX filed its public S1 with SEC on May 20th, revealing a 2025 revenue of $18.7 billion, which is up 33% year over year, anchored by Starlink's $11.4 billion connectivity segment. That's a whole bunch of satellites. The Goldman-led syndicate is targeting a $1.75 to $2 trillion valuation, more than double the December 2025 tender offer mark, with a Nasdaq debut under SPCX as early as June 12th. If price hits that range, it's the largest IPO in history. Yeah, that's right, boys. It's not freaking summer, boys. It's IPO season, dude. Sleeves off, sunglasses on. Everybody's stoked on this S1, so they're reading cool things, and they did learn nobody knew that the company's actually called Space Exploration Technologies Corporation. If there's anything that Mr. Musk likes with his companies, and that I also share in common with naming nomenclature, is that I like a business that tells you what it is. Like oil company. I forget the classic one, but it's freaking, what do you do? Space Exploration Technologies, and put a freaking corp after that. I wrote a thing a while ago about if you want to know what Mr. Musk is doing next, you could look into Marvel, because everyone's stealing from Marvel. Everyone's stealing from Lord of the Rings. You got your Pallies, you got your Anduril, I'm pretty sure is Lord of the Rings. Shout out the Andes. Space Exploration Technologies Corporation filed their S1, which tells you all about their fun stuff with the SEC. It's public rec, ending years of speculation about whether Mr. Musk would ever take the company public. He will, probably, for sure. I'm sure the poly market is going crazy. The filing reveals a business far more commercially mature, allegedly, than the satellite and rocket narrative. What it really boils down to is they love internet. And putting electricity in space, and they can do that somewhat efficiently if you have a rocket business that's grounded in that. Full year 2025 revenue was 18.7 billion. The connectivity segment, primarily Starlink, generated 11.4 billion of that, growing 49.8% year over year, accelerating into Q1, where connectivity alone produced $3.257 billion in a single quarter. The S1 identifies Starship as the company's primary growth vehicle and frames its total addressable market as 28.5 trillion, a figure that includes satellite broadband, launch services, human spaceflight, and per the filings language, making life multiplanetary. You will find some CPAs or CFAs going through the S1 and kind of clowning on the boys over there at SpaceX. They said they're trying to make consciousness in the light of consciousness into space, and that's what they're doing. They like freaking XI in there. Let's talk about it a little bit. The deal mechanics place this firmly in record territory. Goldman Sachs, shout out, is leading the underwriting syndicate, joined by Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, Citigroup, and JP Morgan Chase. S1 carries blank price fields, but reporting from Reuters, Bloomberg, and Fortune converges on a target valuation of almost $2 trillion. With a potential raise of $40 billion to $80 billion, the December 2025 tender offer SpaceX valued at roughly $800 billion. February 2026 XAI merger valued the combined entity at $1.25 trillion. IPO target range is more than double what that range was in December, and a re-rating driven by Starlink subscriber growth. Starship's first successful orbital cargo delivery, very important, and the XAI integration that now provides SpaceX with one of the largest proprietary AI training compute clusters outside the hyperscalers. There's also a acquisition of Cursor and some deals with Anthropic for compute, very valuable in this state, in America, and beyond. SpaceX IPO is a category-defining event for three reasons. Number one, the Starlink business alone, $11.4 billion in 2025 revenue, 50% growth, rapidly expanding international subscriber counts would justify a multi-hundred billion valuation as a standalone connectivity company. It's really funny that it's basically just an internet company like T-Mobile, but in space. And maybe it sells energy everywhere, and maybe some of these people are kind of betting that the terrestrial energy space is going to collapse, perhaps. Everything else in the S1, including Falcon 9, Dragon, Starship, Mars missions, is either optionality or a cost center, eating up a lot of money. Second, the timing creates a reference point that will reprice the entire commercial space sector. We're talking Rocket Lab, we're talking Planet Labs, AST Space Mobile, we've all heard about it, we all love it, and every defense-adjacent new space company will be re-benchmarked against SPCX comps immediately after the pricing. Pretty interesting. Everyone in the space business just got a freaking comp valuation bump because everybody gave Musk money. Third, the deal's success or failure will signal whether the public market can absorb mega-cap IPOs in a rate environment with a 30-year treasury still trades above 5%. Basically a big old story about internet and energy. If you have a data center up in space, it can harness the power of 100% 24/7 sun, and then I think they beam out the excess energy, is what they said in their S1. Pretty sci-fi. Give the internet to places over the ocean and in remote areas. I think they kind of just want to price up energy everywhere a little bit, or maybe commodify it. Maybe it's what's the word? Where you do things that are nice for the world. Also, they valued it a little bit more because XAI is trading on Twitter, and that's all been freaking bundled together. Pretty interesting. Underwritten by Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, Citigroup, JP Morgan, and Goldman Sachs. It's freaking IPO season, boys. And everybody loves reading those S1s. And at a pivotal moment in these IPOs is everything that Nvidia is doing. Story number 2, Nvidia posts a record Q1 for financial year 2027. Revenue of $81.6 billion. That's up 85% year over year, breaking the $79.2 billion consensus that it was estimated at. We're talking data center revenue hitting $75.2 billion. That's up 92% from a year ago. And I don't know if that's sustainable, personally. As the Blackwell chip demand overwhelms supply. Interesting. The company guided Q2 to $91 billion and announced an $80 billion share buyback and a 25x dividend raise. That's freaking sick, dude. Jensen Huang, a master orator himself, called it the largest infrastructure expansion in human history. I brought this up a few times. I've written about it a little bit, but everything's pretty infrastructure oriented right now. As there's a little bit of a not coupling, because coupling would be double two, but everybody's kind of going into their own countries. I think the U.S. realizes that they've not exactly been infrastructure dependent on themselves. Was also reading some defense magazines about, this was from 2025, U.S. defense, about they get a lot of their biomaterials. They can create weapons, ammunition from cellulose. Don't come at me, government organizations. I'm just reading what they publish. I'm just a researcher. And they get that from not U.S. places. And you got to be able to be in the middle of the ocean to do these stuff. Gonna hit these super boring but super exciting Nvidia fiscal numbers. We're talking 81.62 billion. Data center revenue captures Blackwell GPU demand from hyperscalers, sovereign AI programs, and frontier model labs. Reached $75.2 billion. We're talking a GAAP gross margin held at 74.9%. Non-GAAP EPS, earning per share of 1.87, beating the 1.77 estimate. CEO Jensen Huang opened their earnings call by framing the moment of the build-out of AI factories. That's a wink, wink, nod, nod to someone in my past life. The largest infrastructure expansion in human history. A phrase that underscores how the company now positions itself. It's not just a chip company, but the capital equipment supplier for a planetary scale industrial build-out. Holy moly, Nvidia. We're talking, like I said, AI programs, sovereign in the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Japan, France. Enterprise inference deployments are now material contributors to the data center line. This is also pumping up Korean markets over there, as a lot of the memory for these places are in the supply chain in Korea. So that's getting a little bit of a bump itself. And I'm sure nothing will crash down. And if it does crash down, I would still probably put Nvidia as the winner and all that. AI infrastructure CapEx cycle is still increasing $91 billion in a single quarter from a single supplier. Implies annualized data center spend in the hundreds of billions across all infrastructure layers. Operators building on top of this stack should expect continued GPU scarcity and pricing power for at least 2 additional quarters. That is not exactly my advice, but let's see. Second, Nvidia's margin durability. Sick with it. At scale, 75% gross margin on $81 billion in revenue. It's a freaking pretty hefty moat there. AMD, Intel, Gaudi, and custom silicon remain competitive in specific workloads. Intel also has a silicon deal with SpaceX to make their own stuff. I'll go back to it. So Nvidia raking in stuff, and by stuff I mean money. Doing pretty good work over there. Black Jacket himself. Google I.O. 2026. It was a little bit Apple-esque. I know they both do these keynotes, but I think that Apple's doing these keynotes a little bit more frequent, or they cut back on it. Either way, the aura around Google I/O 2026 was a bit more tangible than recent Apple keynote stuff. Google used I/O 2026 to unveil Gemini 3.5 Flash, faster than 3.1 Pro in coding and agentic benchmarks alongside Gemini Spark, which is a 24/7 personal AI agent that autonomously takes action across Google Workspace and third-party apps. They also launched managed agents in the Gemini API and expanded its AI product surface across Drive, Docs, and Android, shipping the agentic consumer layer that has been building since they flopped with Bard in 2023. I do like the consumer angle for AI. Like one Ben, well, I don't know if that was public. When things like this are not on the enterprise side, you might want to look at who is the main people in people's hands. I come to you from an Apple computer, allegedly, and some Apple hand mobile devices as well. And the other side of that is Google A. What are the things that people use in life? Most likely Google.com. Fun fact, Google said they were going all in on AI in 2016 in a very public founders letter. I find that very fun. I unfortunately was not delving into founders letters in 2016. I waltzed into a college investing club in sandals and basketball shorts. Wasn't even my club. A lady was pitching not Eli, Lily, shout out. One of the makeup companies. They're all in suits. They knew about B School. I didn't know about B School. We'd be B Schooling up on this. I mean, this is, if there's any B School left, it's Ricker and Bond Business School. That's what that stands for, you nerds. But I was doing other things in 2016, not listening to Mr. Sundar over there. Might have butchered that name. One thing Google also did was a horrendous rebrand of their logos. And Jamie, if you could pull that up on that image over there, thank you. A little bit more on what they unveiled. Frontier speed model in Gemini 3.5 surpasses Gemini 3.1 Pro on a couple fun stuff, including coding and agentic things. 4 times the output token speed of comparable frontier models. Personal AI across the Google Workspace. Eventually interact with local files. And I will say, this user, again, furious with Anthropic as a $20 tier user. And it makes me not want to do another tier. To make a PDF and search the web, I take about 15% of my usage. Is that what we're talking about, bro and sis over there at Anthropic? They talk to Oprah, so all the normies are like, now we like Anthropic. Yeah, we get it. Anthropic's the nice guy versus OpenAI. Everybody's leaving. But if Codex can help me freaking build the best research website, WRIVID.com, Rivid.com, then I'll use which product is better. It's the flattening, folks. Everybody can make some software now and at least wrap some software around scrapers and searchers that OpenAI and Anthropic and Gemini is trying to give you. Speaking of Gemini, the developer infrastructure launched managed agents in the Gemini API with a single API call provisions a remote Linux environment where agents can reason, plan, call tools, and browse the web, removing the compute and orchestration overhead that has made agentic applications expensive to build. Excuse me, Google? Google also upgraded Anti-Gravity, its agent-first development platform with new orchestration capabilities, added native Kotlin support, we all know what that is, to Google AI Studio for Android developers, and launched Google Pix, an AI-powered image generation and editing tool with object-level control built directly into Drive, Docs, and Slides. We're getting consumery. Microsoft. Now I use Outlook, and that's about it from the 365 suite. And I know they got their blue, red, green, and yellow paws on OpenAI. But if we're talking suite v suite, this PR from Google is looking pretty nice across all these products. The through line, that's identical. Google is instrumenting its entire product surface with agentic AI and making it trivially easy for developers to build agents on top of the same infrastructure. That is pretty freaking interesting. I would, in the vein of AI, also like to highlight, I believe, X402 from Coinbase. You've seen people talk about Agentic Commerce. X402 is an open internet native protocol that revives the long dormant HTTP 402 quote payment required status code, to enable instant automatic cryptocurrency micropayments directly over the web. You heard Stripe talk about people interacting with basically just chatbots and then giving it a budget, the chatbot. And the example that the fine folks over at Coinbase Devs did in collaboration with Lowe's, I believe, is a user interacting with a chatbot looking for fridges, saying, I have $1,000 budget. Agents talking to each other. Got to define agents more, first principles about it. I'll do it later. Little code v codes, company code bases, living in the computer, little gnomes in the computer talking to each other, and giving the user a $700 recommendation for a fridge because it had a $1,000 budget. I'm sure you could ask for a better deal, but if that is what we're talking about, I mean, that's more in the hands of if Stripe could do it and you got credit cards. X402 is pretty interesting because you can make your own. They also have a very cool marketplace. One of the Coinbase devs over there made Agentic Marketplace, giving me a little bit of vibes of e-commerce back in the day ski. We're talking about all this infrastructure. It'd be interesting to think about, and I invite you and myself to think about. There was a big boom in consumer right before this era with Facebook and the proliferation of the iPhone. Before that was a tech boom, .com internet boom, and I'm sure before that was an infrastructure build out from, I don't know, the 70s to the 90s. You might be seeing a little cyclical parallelism that going on now. The agentic stuff is interesting. Everybody's doing these AI infrastructure, not sure, interface on Google. Google rolled out more AI mode stuff. It's taken me about, oh, cool, dude, you can put your cursor and it moves the color on AI mode. Stuff like that. Like, that's taken me about 9 to 12 months to get brainwashed into. And I think people probably value a summary more. One of the blokes over at one of those tech magazines sat down with a Sundar, and was like, is this interface really what you guys want to do? And the example was top iPhone, top Android phone, something like that. But I think people like this overview stuff. There was, again, from, shout out the boys over there at Spindle, that was acquired by Coinbase. Antonio, I believe his name is, had a nice piece written over there on twitter.com and or X, depending on who your investors are. It had a line that said, in essence, people misconstrue the fact that the reality is consumers rarely want to be more efficient with their time and want to waste time more. And that's why I made Rivet.com. Funny. I say that to say the X402 Agentic Commerce stuff, does that still give people the ability to scroll and see things? Because that's, again, the, what's the word? I'm forgetting. Spontaneity of the web search has been in a crosshair for chat bots, ChatGPT and stuff. And even for like language, these tools are being funneled through a company's bias. And so you're seeing linked sources, and before chatbots, it was if you can get sourced on top of Google. But again, the commerce stuff, interesting with Google doing more AI consumer tools, which I'm for, and I think people haven't really tapped into the most. And a chatbot is kind of it, but not really it. Anywho, skis. Ricker and Bond, what else we got for you? We're coming up on 25 minutes. I like to keep Ricker After Dark a little bit shorter than the other ones. We're picking from GitHub breach or Trump AI executive order postponed. We'll hit those. Plus, we got on the back burner Anthropic projections for revenue. I'll hit that. And AMD Gorgon. If you know, you know. We'll hit all these in short succession. Never seen the TV show. GitHub breached via poisoned VS Code extension. Team PCP AO steals 3,800 internal repos in 18 minutes. Very efficient there, Team PCP. A compromised version of the Annex console VS Code extension. I believe we explained what VS Code was in the past. VS Code extension V18.95.0 for those keeping score, with 2.2 million installs, was live for about 18 minutes on May 18th before it was pulled. And in that window, folks, a multi-stage credential stealer exfiltrated. Exfiltrated? The opposite of infiltrated? Look at that word, dude. Hell yeah. The opposite of infiltrated tokens across GitHub, NPM, AWS, and Kubernetes, giving a threat group, Teams, PCP, access to roughly 3.8 thousand GitHub internal repos. Oh no, all my repos that all the normies are now making were under attack. The attack was traced to Nasdaq NPM supply chain compromise. My goodness. The VS Code marketplace is now the attack surface no one was watching. Downstream impact on Microsoft's GitHub platform was significant. Team PCP used the harvested credentials to access almost 4,000 internal GitHub repositories, repos, aka GitHub confirmed the breach in a public postmortem. Oof, looking a little crypto-y with those postmortems. And the attacker has gained access to internal source code, but that no customer repos or production systems were compromised. Nice. Treat any success. Yeah, people are, vibe coding, and there's not a lot of security there. So maybe Microsoft is going to announce some changes over there to VS Code Marketplace. We got Trumpito. Trump postpones AI executive order after Musk and Zuckerberg push back. State AI preemption also dead. Presidento Trumpito shelved a planned AI executive order over this week after last-minute lobbying from Mr. Musk and Mr. Zuckerberg and other tech CEOs. The order had required leading AI companies to voluntarily share advanced model with the government before release. We had brought this up on a previous episode of Ricker and Bond, And I scoffed at it because that's kind of, haha. And separately, the Senate voted near unanimously to strip a 10-year state AI law moratorium from the one big beautiful bill, leaving AI governance in a policy vacuum as the 2026 midterms approach. The postponement lands in the context of a broader AI governance vacuum that has widened over the past month. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act, signed into law in July 2025, originally contained a 10-year moratorium that would have preempted any state AI law or regulation. After a near unanimous vote, that has been stripped before passage. And as of May 2026, no federal AI governance framework exists. The Biden-era executive order was rescinded on Trump's first day in office. The replacement order is now shelved, and the state-level preemption that would have created federal primacy was removed. And the result is now AI is governed by a patchwork of state laws coming from California, Colorado, Texas, and Illinois, with no federal floor and no federal ceiling. In an election year where an AI policy is becoming a voter-visible issue for the first time, folks. Get with it, dude. Interesting. Next. I like this. Just gonna hit the quick ones. We'll wrap up here on Ricker After Dark. Anthropic is on track to post its first operating profit. Here we go, boys and girls. In Q2 of 2026, with Q2 revenue projected at $10.9 billion and an expected operating surplus of roughly $559 million, 130% growth from $4.8 billion in Q1, and a $30 billion plus annualized run rate that arrived roughly 2 years ahead of the company's own internal projections from mid-2025. Claude codes, hey now, rough spot with me, $1 billion annualized run rate reached in under 6 months. It's the fastest enterprise developer tool adoption on record. We're talking Stripe, Datadog, all these fun startups. Claude Code frickin' killed them all. The numbers were reported by CNBC and corroborated by Sacra and PYMNTS. Shout out the boys. Represent a dramatic acceleration from Q1. Company began 2026 with approximately $9 billion in annualized revenue. By the end of Q1, the figure had crossed $30 billion. The revenue composition matters as much as the headline. 80% of Anthropic's revenue come from its 300 plus business customers. That's talking about enterprise API access, Claude deployments inside corporate workflows, and increasingly agent infrastructure contracts. Claude Code, Anthropic's developer coding tool, reached $1 billion in annualized recurring revenue in under 6 months, setting what appears to be the fastest APARR ramp in enterprise developer tool history. We're talking Cursor at the prior benchmark. Took longer. The Gates Foundation partnership announced the previous week that was $200 million over 4 years, covering global health, education, and agriculture. Added a new vertical that is primarily grant and mission funded. Everybody knows that grant funded businesses always work, which improves Anthropic's cost structure for those deployments while providing valuable real world data for model alignment research. Shout out the boys. Yeah, we love chips. AMD Gorgon confirmed its Ryzen AI Max 400 Gorgon Halo chips. Supports up to 192 gigabytes of unified memory, enough to run 300 billion parameter language models entirely on device, with 160 gigabytes allocatable as VRAM and OEM systems from Asus, HP, and Lenovo arriving in Q3 2026. It's the first x86 client chip capable of frontier-scale local inference. We all know and understand deep down within our souls what this means for the world. The cloud versus local AI cost equation is about to be rewritten, folks. Freaking clock in. And wrapping up this wonderful episode of Ricker After Dark. Will Bond ever return? Who knows? We're talking about Pope Leo. Pope Leo from Chirac itself releases Magnifica Humanitas. Magnifica Humanitas. The first papal encyclical. Everybody knows what encyclical is on AI. Co-presented with Anthropic's Christopher Olah. Pope Leo will release Magnifica Humanitas on May 25, 2026, the year of your Lord, the first papal encyclical dedicated to artificial intelligence, comparing AI's moral stakes to the Industrial Revolution's transformation, documented in Leo XIII's 1891 Rerum Novarum. Gonna check that out. The Vatican launch will feature Anthropic co-founder Christopher Olah alongside senior cardinals, an unprecedented pairing of frontier AI research with institutional religious moral authority. Expect this to become the most cited non-technical AI FX document of 2026. It's Ricker, it's Bond, it's Ricker After Dark, sleeves are off, tarps off for the boys, headband on, sunglasses. Let's go make some money, boys.